Hare Krishna everyone, we're continuing to read The Science of Self-Realization, the book by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 8, Attaining Perfection, and the section is entitled The Highest Love. Continuing. Two classes of men may merge into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Those who are intentionally aspiring to merge into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti may enter, and those who are enemies of Krishna and are killed by him may also do so. Therefore, the devotee concludes, why should I accept a condition that is offered even to God's enemies? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends pure devotional service. There should be no desire to fulfill one's own material desires. There should be no attempt to understand Krishna by experimental philosophy, and there should be no fruitive activities to derive material benefits from Krishna. The only desire should be to serve him favorably as he desires. If Krishna wants something, then we should do it. Suppose I were to ask a disciple, "My dear student, please give me a glass of water." It is then his duty to give me a glass of water. If he thinks, Prabhupada wants a glass of water, but why not give him something better? Why not a glass of hot milk? That is not service. In his consideration, hot milk is very palatable and is better than water. Yet because I have asked for water, he has to give me water, not milk. That is favorable service. One has to understand what Krishna wants. When there is that intimate relationship, then one can serve Krishna most favorably. And as long as there is not that intimate relationship, one must take information of what Krishna wants through the transparent medium of the spiritual master. A Vaishnava never thinks that he has a direct relationship with Krishna. Lord Chaitanya says, I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. 100 times the servant of Krishna. We have to agree to become the servant of the servant of the servant. This is the process of disciplic succession. And if one wants real, transcendental love of God, then he has to adopt this process. Because people do not accept this process, they do not develop real love of God. They speak of God, but actually they do not love God. Because there is no cultivation of pure devotional service, they love dog. We may say love of God, but unless we adopt this principle, then we will have to love a dog, not God. That is the mistake. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if one really wants love of God, then one has to follow the process of pure devotional service. It is not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking out of his own mental concoction. His statements are confirmed in Vedic scriptures such as the Narada Pancharatra and the Srimad Bhagavatam. These two books and the Bhagavad Gita are very authentic scriptures meant for devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes from a verse in the Narada Pancharatra. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. This is the definition of pure devotional service. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam. Hrishikena means by one's senses. We have to engage our senses. It is not that we only engage our minds. If someone says, "I'm always thinking of Krishna," that is not pure devotional service. Meditation is thinking, but no one thinks of Krishna. They think of void or something impersonal. If someone is thinking of Krishna or Narayana or Vishnu as prescribed in the Vedic scriptures, that is real yoga. Yoga meditation means to focus one's mind upon the Supersoul. The Supersoul is the representation of Krishna in the form of four-handed Narayana. Even Patanjali, an authority on the yoga system, prescribes meditation on Vishnu. But just as people are manufacturing bogus religious processes, the so-called yogis of today have manufactured their own way of thinking of something void. But the Narada Pancharatra says, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam. One must engage not only one's mind, but one's senses. Engage the senses in the service of the master of the senses. These three Sanskrit words are very significant. Hrishikesh means the Lord of the senses. So bhakti-yoga means to serve with the senses, the Lord of the senses. The Lord of the senses is Krishna. We should always remember that we have our senses because we wanted to enjoy this material world, and therefore the Lord has given us a particular set of senses for our enjoyment. The hog has a particular type of body and senses because he wanted to enjoy eating stool. Similarly, a man has a particular type of body and senses because he wanted to enjoy something else. We have a particular set of conditioned senses with which to enjoy this material world, and this is what we have to purify. Our senses are original, but now they are covered by material desires. We have to cure ourselves and become free from such desires. When one's senses are no longer inclined toward material sense gratification, one's status is called pure devotion. From this verse of the Narada Pancharatra, we can understand that the spirit soul has original senses. However small a body it may have entered, the spirit soul is not impersonal. It has senses. Perhaps one may find a bug on one's book. It's so small, smaller than a pinpoint, but still it moves. It moves, it has all the senses. The small bacteria also move, and they have their senses. Originally, all the living entities have senses. It is not that the senses have developed under certain material conditions. The atheistic theory is that under material conditions we have developed senses, that in the spiritual condition there are no senses, and that we are impersonal. By logic and reason, however, that cannot be so. A minute particle of spiritual force, even if it is smaller in size than an atom, has its senses. These senses, being covered by material elements, manifest themselves in a perverted way. We have to purify the senses, and when the senses are purified, we can engage them for the pleasure of the master of the senses. Krishna is the master and proprietor of the senses. Therefore, because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, our senses are borrowed from Him. They are on rental. The best thing is to use the senses for His sense gratification, not for our own. This is the process of pure Krishna consciousness. Jai. We're going to stop here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna.